Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a cook with me, actually a bake with me. We are going to be making pumpkin bread with pumpkin buttercream icing. About a week or so ago, one of my subscribers and a member of my Facebook group, Christine Smith, posted this recipe in the Facebook group and said, hey, can we lighten this up? It looks delicious. Well, you know that is my favorite thing to do, is lighten up a recipe. So I took on the challenge and I lightened it up. It is delicious. So if you want to see how to make a very low point pumpkin bread with pumpkin buttercream icing, keep on watching because it is fabulous. The ingredients we need for our pumpkin bread: we need 1 3/4 cups of flour. And then in this bowl, I have all of the seasonings. We have 1 1/2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of ground allspice. We also need 2 eggs. The recipe calls for 3/4 cup of packed brown sugar. This is the Lakanto, I don't know how you say it, monk fruit sweetener in the golden. It does not pack, if you can see that. It's kind of like granulated sugar, so I'm hoping it's okay. This is the first time I'm using this. I generally use the Swerve, which I really like, but I decided to try this time, so we shall see. And then I have 1/3 cup of the monk fruit classic sugar blend. They are both 0 points in any quantity. Then I also have, in place of the 1/2 cup of canola oil, I'm going to be using unsweetened applesauce. Then 1 1/4 cups of pure pumpkin puree. And that's what we're going to be using for the bread. I will show you the ingredients for the frosting when we get to that step. So let's get this started. So the first thing we're going to do is add all of our spices and seasonings to the flour and give that a nice whisk to combine them. We're going to set that aside. And in our mixer, we're going to put in our 2 eggs. And we're going to beat those on medium-high for about 2 minutes until they're nice and light in color. Next, we're going to add the brown sugar. And once again, mix that for 2 minutes. Next, we're going to add in the white sugar. And we're going to beat that for 1 more minute. Now our next step with the mixer running is to add in our applesauce and let that combine, and then we're going to add in our pumpkin and let that combine. Now I'm just going to make sure it's all mixed together. And then we are going to add in our dry ingredients in 2 increments. And we are not going to overmix this. Just about 10 to 15 seconds for each one. So we'll go half. And then the second half. Now at this point, if you'd like to add in some nuts, you can do that. Of course, adding nuts will add to the points. What I'm going to do is, if I have nuts, I forgot to buy them. I think I have some here. I'm going to wait until the loaf is cooled and frosted, and then just sprinkle some right on top of the frosting. I think sometimes when you don't have large quantities of nuts in a quick bread, they can sometimes get lost and you don't really get that crunch or that taste. But I think by using a smaller amount and sprinkling them on top of the frosting, I think we'll definitely get more bang for our buck. So there is our batter. And now what I'm going to do is I have a 9 by 5 inch loaf pan sprayed with nonstick spray. And I'm just going to put this right in there. As you can see, it's a pretty thick batter. And it smells delicious. Spread it out nice and evenly. And just if you're wondering, this loaf pan is a Pampered Chef stoneware loaf pan. That's why it looks a little funny. I've gotten comments before when I've used my Pampered Chef stoneware about like, hey lady, don't you ever clean your pans? They look dirty. This is what stoneware is supposed to look like. It's well seasoned when it turns almost black. And the pizza pan I use, the jelly roll pan that I use for cookies and pizza, is literally almost black, and it's the best pan I own. So they are supposed to look like this. I do clean them. Okay. There we go. There is our pumpkin bread. And now we are going to put it in a preheated 325 degree oven for an hour to an hour and 5 minutes. We're going to be testing it with a toothpick to make sure it is done. I will probably start checking it at about 50 minutes just so it doesn't overcook. And then we're going to let it cool, and then we are going to frost it with a pumpkin buttercream. So there you have it. Let's get this in the oven. So here is our beautiful pumpkin loaf. It took a little longer than the hour and 5 minutes because the center wasn't done. So the edges got a little too done. Well, not too done, just a little more done than I like them, but I needed to get the center done. So that came out beautiful. Now we're going to make the frosting. Now I am halving the frosting because in the picture that was sent to me, the frosting is crazy thick and it would be crazy amounts of points. It's the icing on the cake. You don't need a ton of it. So we are going to halve it. So in this bowl, I have 2 tablespoons of light butter, 1 tablespoon of pure pumpkin puree, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. So we are going to blend that up and cream it all together. Okay, now the original recipe called for 3 cups of powdered sugar. I'm using 1½ cups of the Swerve confectioner sugar. And we are just going to put the mixer on low and just add this slowly. It is supposed to make a very thick buttercream. I'm about halfway done, but I'm going to stop it and just scrape down the sides. Then I'm going to add a teaspoon of almond milk. You can go up to 2 teaspoons depending on the consistency you like. Okay, let's see what we have here. Well, you know, if I wasn't filming, I'd have my finger in here tasting this. Just saying. And there we go. There is our icing. So now we are going to get it on the cake. Okay, so now we are just going to put a nice, generous layer of frosting over the top. We will get every last bit of frosting.
All of us.
Adam forgot to shut his volume off the TV. I apologize for that. But you know what I always say. Real life around here. Hey, I managed to get through a video without the dogs barking. Maybe.
Don't jinx yourself.
Okay. I guess you could do the sides if you want, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep a nice thick layer. I can't imagine how thick this would have been if I didn't have it. Wow. That would have been a lot of icing. Okay, so there's that. And now we are going to sprinkle 2 teaspoons of chopped walnuts over the top. Totally optional. Does not add any points, believe it or not. More would, but 2 tablespoons does not. I'd like these chopped a little finer, but so be it. And there you have it. Our frosted pumpkin bread. I will slice it up, let you know what the servings and the points are. It was so good. The original loaf, or the original recipe, is 18 points per slice. This lightened up version, 2 points per slice. I know, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. In place of the brown sugar, I used the monk fruit, which was 0 calories, 0 points. For the granulated sugar, I used the monk fruit, 0 calories, 0 points. I did use the flour that was called for. Everything else in the cake, I had to count the flour. And I think that's probably it in the cake. And then in the icing, I halved it. I used light butter, and I used the Swerve confectioner sugar, which is 0 calories and 0 points. So unbelievable. Now, if you don't like that cooling effect of the erythritol, you're not gonna like the frosting, because you do get a little bit of that cooling effect from the Swerve with the erythritol in it, but it didn't bother me that much because it was so dang good. So that's it. It is an absolute hit. Everybody here tried it. Everybody here loves it. So once again, thank you, Christine Smith, for posting the recipe in my Facebook group and asking me to lighten it up, because wow, it's fantastic. So I will link the recipe below, and let me know if this is something you would like to try. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little pricey to make because it used, you know, the monk fruit and all that, and that's not cheap. Would I make this on a weekly basis? No, but I will definitely make it to take to Thanksgiving dinner, or, you know, something like that. If I have somewhere to go over the holidays, definitely gonna make it and take it with me, because it's WW friendly. And when you're going to an environment that may not be WW friendly, you take something with you. That is. So thanks again, Christine, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and every time I upload, you will be alerted. Also, everything I used today, the Swerve, the monk fruit, my measuring cups, all that is linked below in my Amazon store. If there's something you'd like, please feel free to click on those links and it'll take you right to it. So thanks again, and have a great day.